بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. Traveler 1 البرنامج المشترك Module 4 nowadays. Now in the previous module or the previous lesson in this module we described gadgets, how much we need them or what are the advantages of using them. In this module we're going to use relative pronouns and adverbs. In the first part of this grammar, the grammar part, they talked about relative pronouns. There are some examples we're going to read together in order for us to guess what does it mean to have a pronoun that's called relative and what can we do with these pronouns. Also we have relative adverbs. Now the first sentence, they want you to read the examples and what do these words in bold, the ones in dark, black means or refer to. They go back to which word. For example, it's perfect for drivers who or that love luxury. Sentence 2, the jacket has panels which or that use the sun to create energy. Number 3, they are the trainers which or that everyone will want to have. And number 4, a great place where you can use this USB Hoover is in your office. Now, who in first sentence, of course, I'm sorry about the line, but who love luxury, if I ask you that question? If you want to know who refers to or goes back to which word, ask yourself that. Who love luxury? Drivers. Number 2, the jacket has panels which use the sun to create the energy. The panels, of course, the first one, drivers. The second one, panels, and I'm sorry for the misplace of these words. Number 3, they are the trainers, okay? Trainers, which are the shoes, if you remember, the ones in the previous lesson. And a great place where you can use, what do I mean by, where does it go to? A place. Now, I don't want you to look at the lines now, and they are misplaced, but what I'm saying, I want you to look at the words that I've shown. The first one, who goes back to drivers. Number 2, which goes to panels. Number 3, which goes to trainers. Number 4, where means a place. Now, this is just an example. I'm going to go through that very deeply now. Now, if you look at the word who, okay, do you use it? Or, for example, you have who and that. That is used for everyone. But if I say who, okay, does it go back to things, animals, ideas, places, or people? Even when I ask you, who is this? Usually it goes back to, and from the sentence, it's perfect for drivers, who. So who means drivers, which is people. Number 2, the jacket has panels. What do I mean by panels here? Is it, for example, do I use which for things, animals, people? Of course, it means which. This is the answer. As I said, it's misplaced, and I'm sorry for that. Number 3, if I say where, it goes back to what? A great place where you can use. Where means, of course, here. It's a place. And where. In your book, you have exercise B or part B from the grammar section. They want you to fill the spaces. I have filled them, but they are misplaced, so I want you to be careful with that. The first one, who, and that is used for people, if you want to use the pronoun. Number 2, that and which is used for things, animals, and ideas. And number 3, where is used for places. Now, you have a note here. This is very important because I want you to focus on that. We're going to explain it in the next slide, but I want you to remember that note, that we can omit, you can take out who and which, and that in one case, when they refer to the object of the sentence. Of course, in order for us to know what does it mean, is it an object or is a subject, we have to analyze the sentences. Number 1, I want you to go back to the grammar reference and read more in page 88. But for now, I'm going to explain it as much as I can so it's easier for you. First of all, the relative pronouns. Now we have to know what does it mean in order for us to be able to use it or omit it. Number 1, a relative pronoun is a word that introduces a relative clause. You will find a very long sentence. It has two clauses. The first one, the main clause, and the second one is the relative clause. It usually starts with these pronouns, sometimes who, which, that, and in this case also we have where. Now, if I want to say, what does it mean relative pronoun? It means that it takes place of nouns or pronouns. Like instead of writing the same subject all the time and repeating, this is like a manner of changing the style of the sentence. So when they put it, it's going to be a pronoun in the place of the noun, but why does it exist? Because sometimes instead of repeating the subject, they put it so it relates back to something or someone. So instead of saying, I'm going to give you now sentences. Instead of saying, for example, the perfect drivers or the perfect way for drivers, then sentence 2, the drivers who love luxury. Instead of saying the drivers and drivers all the time, you want to connect two sentences and you want to use reference to go back to the same subject without repeating. So all you have to do is put a pronoun that's appropriate to the noun you're omitting. In this case, of course, because it's a person, we used who. Now, also, they say you can join, of course, it is joining two sentences together, so that's why it's put inside or between the two sentences. Number 3, this is very important. If you want to make sure that you're using the right pronoun, you have to think about the reference. It is relative, so you have to relate it to the noun. Is it going back to a person? In this case, you're going to use who. Is it going back to a thing or an animal or an idea? You have to use which. If it's going back to a place, okay, you have to use where. That is used for all of them, but if you want to choose between who, which, or where, you have to think about the reference for that pronoun. Now, for example, this is an example from your roundup exercises. They say, my cousin is a person who gets disappointed very easily. Here, if I want to know what does it mean who, it refers back to my cousin. Who gets disappointed very easily? Who? My cousin. So instead of saying my cousin is a person, full stop, he or my cousin gets disappointed very easily, I join the two sentences and I put who. Now, according to the note in your book, they say you can omit where if it's going back to or refers to an object. We have to see the sentences. When we see the sentences, I'm going to talk to you about that, but in time. Now, this is also from your book. This is from your reference book, the grammar reference, page 88. I like these tables because you can actually see what I'm saying now, but in written form. Relative pronouns who, which and that, and adverbs where. Now, to have these relative pronouns, they divided them for you, so it's easier for you to remember if it's for people, or if the reference is for people, or you're relating it to a person. You're going to say who. That is used all the time. The question here, you have to understand, is it a subject or an object? We will see now. The man who is driving that car is my uncle, because it's a person. The teacher who I like the most is Mrs. Robbins. So here, because it's a person, it goes back to a person, I used who. Sentence 2, the bag, it's a thing. The bag which is on the table is mine. Number 2, the documentary which I watched last night was terrible. This is, an idea, thing. Number 3, sorry, place. The place where I live is beautiful. Here, I want you to notice the difference here. The place where I live is beautiful. If I ask you, where do you live? I live in a place. So place here is do you think it's a subject or an object? Okay, the action happened to it. So it's an object. Here, in this case, it's okay for you to omit where. You can say the place I live in, the place I live, the place where I live is beautiful. You can, of course, change some of the part of the sentence, but here means that it's an object. Okay? Now, in your book, in your practice, you have like long exercises, but it's so easy. I don't want you to be disappointed if you see these because I have some clues for you. Now, sometimes you need to read the sentence, the whole sentence. If it's like here in a dialogue, you have to read the whole thing so you understand, is it a person, is it a thing, or is it a place? So you can choose who, which, of course, or where. Some people would use that all the time, but I want you to be able to distinguish. I want you to differentiate. I want you to choose who or which or where, because that is used most of the time. Now look at sentence 1. Is that laptop? Okay, laptop, it's a thing. Okay, is the laptop you bought last week? Is that the laptop you bought last week? Yeah. What do you think we're going to use? If it's a thing, you can use which, because it's a thing, or you can use that. Number 2, it's nice. Where did you get it? Where did you get it from? From the shop. Okay, shop is a place. So where do you use to work? In fact, the man, okay, you're going to use who, of course, because it's a person. Did he, where is it? What was his name? Alan Taylor. Oh, he was one of the people. Now, people, person. You're going to choose, of course, who I hang out with while I was there. Okay, we use them for a reason. That's a person, it's a thing, or a place. Okay, example number 2, or dialogue number 2. Dan, can I borrow your green shirt? It's a shirt. Which one? The one. It's a shirt, so it's a thing. Yes, you're going to use which or that. Were you wearing yesterday? Go on then. Are you going out? Yeah, I'm meeting Ben. You're meeting who? Ben, the boy. Because it's a person, we're going to use who, yes. In the computer class, where are you going? I like this one because it's very clear. You have planning to go with him to Ricky's. Where? To, the cafe. The cafe is, what do you think? Yes, it's a place, so where? In the park. It's a place. It's very clear, the word place here. It's like a sign for you. You're going to choose where his brother works. Now, I want you to notice that that is used with which, who. You see it? You can choose that with whether you use which or that, but where, you don't use that. It's where all the time. It's a place. So because it's a thing, number 1, we used which. Number 2, it's a man, so we used who. Number 3, it's a place. You're going to use where. If it's a person, you're going to use who. These are the answers for you. You have like 3 seconds, as usual, for you to write them down or check your answers. Okay, moving on. We finished the grammar part. If you have any questions or more questions, or if you need to work on anything like more exercise, you have that in the workbook as well. Now, I like this one because this is something that you've used. Now you understand why you use it. Word building. In the vocabulary part, sometimes you have adjectives that are formed by adding suffix. A suffix is at the end, an end to a word. Now, when you add ful, full, or less to a verb or a noun, you are going to form an adjective from it. So I have a verb, I have a noun, I want to change them into adjectives. When I add the full or less, I'm changing them into adjectives, okay? For example, in the book you have, by the way, I didn't mention that. If you turn the page to 4E, this is the vocabulary from 4E. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Which is page 64. Now, if you want to change it, for example, here you have, this book is very useful. Okay, I learned a lot about cooking from it. My new mobile phone is useless. It never works when I need it. I want you to focus on the meaning. When I say full and less, which one has negative meaning? Which one has positive? When I say it's beautiful, when I say it's powerless or useless. Now, full usually has a positive, good like you're adding meaning to that. Beautiful. But when you say less, even with the word less, you mean it's, negative. Okay? Now it's very easy. All you have to do is add the suffix at the end of adverb, to the verbs or nouns. Now in your book, you have an exercise. They put these words here for you. They want you to correct their form, because when you put them in that sentence, the correct form is to add. It's an adjective, so you have to add full or less. How would you do that? How can I choose if it's a negative thing or it's a positive thing? I want you to notice the sentences. Don't be afraid of the horse. You're afraid of the horse. Don't be afraid. That horse will not harm you. So if I want to add harm, I want to add the suffix, I'm going to say it's harmless. The horse is okay. It's not going to harm you, so don't be afraid. This is the best meaning. Number 2, if you're going to describe, for example, Malik. Malik is a businessman, and he's working very hard, and you want to change the word success. You want to give it an adjective, so you're going to say he's very successful. Malik is a successful businessman. Look at sentence 3. Don't let Anna do the washing up. Don't let her. She's what? What do you think? Is she careful? If you don't want her to work with you or help you in the kitchen, it means that she's, careless. Yes, she doesn't care that much. Maybe she won't clean very well. I have nobody to talk to. Okay? I have nobody to talk to. I feel, this is how you feel. Usually you feel in the negative part. You feel what? Helpless. Hopefully, inshallah, you won't feel like that. Number 5, I asked my brother to help me fix my computer, but he doesn't know much about computer. He doesn't know anything. So do you think he was helpful? Do you think? Or helpless? Here. He wasn't. Yes. I asked him, he doesn't know much about computers, so he wasn't very, here you have a negative. He wasn't helpful, okay? He was not helpful. He has no idea. Okay, I went to the park yesterday. It was what? The park, you have trees, and you have, the park has, for example, a lake. So the scenery was very beautiful, yes. Okay, number 7, I love living in the country. The countryside. We have no cars, no sounds, just birds. It's very quiet. If you say it's quiet, I want to say that it's quiet. What do I say? If I want to add with the peace, you say peaceful. So it's full of peace. Very quiet. Number 8, sweets are to your teeth. Do you think sweets, anything with sugar, is it good for your teeth? It's going to harm your teeth. So if I want to add the meaning to harm, and I want to describe that kind of sweet to you, I'm going to say it's very harmful. Yes, it's full of harm. You're not advised to use sweet or eat sweets all the time. Okay, number 9, please be, you use that all the time, but I have to explain it. If you have a knife and you're using the knife, you always take care of that, and you have to be, and you have care, so you have to be careful. Now, why do I underline these words? And I'm very happy that it wasn't misplaced like the other slides, and I'm sorry for that. Because you have to understand the sentence to be able to use the negative part, like less, or the positive suffix for that noun or verb. Very important, because if you understand that, because if I have harmless and harmful, you won't be able to choose unless you understand the sentence. Okay, that's why I underline these for you. The first one, harmless. Number 2, successful. Number 3, careless. Number 4, helpless. Number 5, helpful. Number 6, beautiful. Number 7, peaceful. Number 8, harmful. And number 9, careful. Now, this is very important. This section of the vocabulary was taken from 4E, Can You Live Without It? I turned the page, but I forgot to write that on the slide. I want you to go back also to your roundup or the activity. You have to test yourself. You have to practice how you change these nouns and verbs to adjectives using the suffix full or less. And you have to know why by using, you know, the clues in your sentence. Okay, I hope it will be easier for you next time. Inshallah, I will try to start next time using a revision or after the lesson, inshallah. Okay, thank you.